because I did want to ask you about a little bit of the quarterback thing, like what you thought about with the Duck, Hodges, Dobbs. Now we have Mason. I don't know, in terms of bringing in Dobbs and then cutting Duck, do you think it's just like, yo, we have more faith in Dobbs being a better quarterback than Duck here?
No, I think this is the thing. Dobbs doesn't get released last year. You know what I mean? Like we excuse me, let me rephrase that. When Dobbs got released, we talked about
because it's weird.
Right,
this is all weird right now.
But it was more so, okay, when they released Dobbs, at the time, Ben was healthy. You knew Mason was your number 2 guy. So you said, well, look, we knew that Dobbs and Mason were competing for the number 2 spot. All right, we'll go ahead and ship off Dobbs for a draft pick. We got Duck, who would make us the third quarterback. We're not anticipating him playing anyways. You're fine. It just so happened the next week, Ben goes down, and then we're kind of like, dang, man, I wish Dobbs was back, man. If Dobbs would have been back, this kind of changes things up a little bit. You have a little bit more faith in the quarterback room. And obviously, as things progressed and it went from Mason to Duck, then you're like, man, it really could have helped. And now we're talking about Paxton Lynch being out here at times. Like, that's what we were. Whereas now, you know, a year later, it worked out where, okay, Dobbs was released. We got an opportunity to bring him back. He's already familiar. He was in this system for multiple years. Same coordinator in Randy Fichtner. Randy Fichtner was the coordinator and the QB's coach for him, so he's already
that happened quick.
Yeah, so so he's already has that continuity. So you bring him back, and it's like, okay, we knew that him and Mason were pushing each other anyways. Even last year when they said that Mason was going to be the number 2 guy, it was still, matter of fact, they never really said it until they just traded him.
Definitely heading into preseason, there was definitely a debate there. I think Mason outplayed him in the preseason, and then obviously, they traded Dobbs, and we kind of got our answer there. But heading in, there was, hey, what do you want more? Because Dobbs definitely brought more versatility to the table, whereas Mason is more the drop back passer, traditional quarterback. I don't know. I just found it interesting how it all happened just like so quick. Like, we still have Duck on the roster, third stringer. All of a sudden they cut Dobbs. We bring in Dobbs, cut Duck. Duck's back on the practice squad. Like, what does it all mean? What does it all mean?
It's literally the exact same of what it was going to be going into last year.
I was thinking that
it's just different narratives. Last year, the whole narrative was who was competing for that number 2 spot. Because remember, the year prior to that, Dobbs had to beat out Landry Jones to be the number 2 quarterback. And then
he did do that.
He did, because people were surprised. They didn't think Landry would be cut because of how many years he was here as Ben's backup. And then you saw Dobbs and Mason compete. The first year, Dobbs beat him out. Then the second year, it was close, but they gave the nod to Mason. So from there, that's why you, like I said, you make the move. But now you're bringing them back and you're saying, hey, I'm a lot more confident when I have Mason and Dobbs as my 2 and 3. Whereas some people weren't as confident in Duck. Some people weren't as confident in Paxton Lynch. So now you feel a lot more confident in terms of those 2 guys, and they're ultimately going to be pushing each other. Whereas with Mason, it could have been a situation where even though Duck is on the roster going into this year, where Mason's not really being pushed by Duck, because with Mason, we said the biggest issue with Mason was just a confidence standpoint.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm hanging my hat on that Jets game. Dude.
Me too.
Like, dude, that was
when he
different
plays
person.
with confidence. When he plays with confidence and believes it, you see the potential is right there. Whereas with Duck didn't have the same abilities as Mason. He just had that confidence where, hey, I'm going to take these chances. I'm going to play, and whatever happens.
There was a tale of 2 ducks, though.
It was, but the problem is when you're not as talented, but you play that kind of just laissez-faire, I'm going to do it, whatever is going to happen type, you're that type of player, it can get really bad at times because you don't have that type of ability. Whereas a guy like Ben, for example, right? Ben has that mentality, but he has elite level talent, so he can make up for it. Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't have the elite talent, but he's still really good. So you can see Ryan Fitzpatrick, we talked about how he gets hot at times and it looks good, but his drop off isn't as bad as Duck's was. But with Duck, he doesn't have the same level of abilities as either one of those guys. And that's why when he plays bad, it looks really bad.
Yeah. I was thinking this because I was going like, all right, who should be the third quarterback? And one side of me is like, before I even get into this, like if we're talking about who should be our third quarterback, and if this conversation has to come up again, we're in trouble. So this should be the last time this is even brought up. You know what I mean? Because like one side of me is thinking like, I saw more of a sample size with Duck, at least those 3 games, the Bengals, the Cardinals, and the Browns, where you're like, oh, wow, he played pretty decent in those games. But then it was just awful the other 3 games. Yes. Whereas with Dobbs, we only got to see him in that Raiders game, and I didn't think he played good in that game. Although I do think Dobbs has more upside than Duck. Yeah. So Dobbs being third string now, Duck on the practice. I don't really care. I mean, it's whatever.
Well,
whatever decisions Steelers make, I'm good with.
And I'll say
because we shouldn't be talking about this during the season at all.
I'll say this too, in terms of the knock that Dobbs gets for that Raiders game. The difference between Mason's audition and Duck's audition compared to Dobbs' audition. When Mason got the nod, there was no debate. There was no, we're not, the offense isn't built for you, it's built for Ben, and we're just doing this on the fly. No, they made sure that, hey, we're going to do whatever is best for you, Mason. Then when it shifted to Duck, it was, hey, we're going to do whatever is best for you, Duck. When Dobbs got the nod, it was during game.
It was for a quarter. It was the third. And Ben came back.
Right, so it wasn't even like you had this full week to prepare. We're going to game plan and make this perfect for you. It was, all right, we're kind of in a bond here. We don't know if Ben's coming back. We know he's getting an x-ray right now. Just get us out of this quarter. So that's why I don't even feel it was a proper evaluation. And for the people that look at that game and say, oh, yeah, man, Dobbs looked bad in that Raiders game. He sucks. I'm like, bro, it was a quarter and a half on the fly. Like, and the whole team was playing bad. We talked about that. The whole team was playing bad. You can't hold that against Dobbs. That's not on Dobbs.
No, like I said, I think he has more potential. I didn't like what I saw in the Raiders game, but yeah, it was only a quarter and whatnot. We have more of a sample size with Duck, and I didn't like those last 3 games. So if the Steelers are saying Dobbs over Duck right now at third string, whatever. I'm good with it because I'm not stressing over it.
Absolutely.